Sheila here with Sirius Dallas Moon. Moon is ingressing to Gemini. And now it's conjoining Uranus from Sedna. And this is a great time to honor Sedna. And Sedna has to do exactly with the topics that I've talked about previously, particularly in Gemini. And this is the discussion about the targeting of infants by cults. And I want to give a shout out to Cults to Consciousness. And this is a channel that really gives testimony of people that were in various cults, and it can be Scientology, which is a healing cult, and can explain for many parents why their children are at risk, why even their infants are at risk. And I'm not saying it from the point of view of, oh, go see a doctor, go see a psychiatrist, the other way around. In fact, the infants are targeted and they may experience various degrees of sexual boundary violation, sometimes under hypnosis, where the child could be in some sort of a personality cult with either the offender or something around, and this usually happens from places where they practice esoterics. Now, while esoterics can definitely be defending from such activity, for example, Beta Persei talismans, Deneb Algeri talismans, there are also projects worldwide like MK Often that are interrelating with various basically cults, and it can be Mormonism, it can be Scientology, it can be Jesuits, it can be Epstein, um, and the issue is that indeed those infants are targeted with the attempt to create basically kind of like the Frankenstein story, to create a human being that would be of their service, and that can absolutely be an infant in a family that um, has nothing to do. Um, Now, Sedna is very connected to this type of phenomena because the child will grow and they might act weird as a child. Um, there may be interruptions in language acquisition, there may be motoric challenges. And if the child begins to tell about things, usually the parents don't know and they try to go to somebody that knows something about this, and this is where these children get into the physical rituals of ritual abuse. This is exactly the Sedna story. And I knew that Uranus conjoining Sedna, even from out of sign, will give us more perspectives. And one of the perspectives is that, well, definitely there are parents that are in a cult and so on. There are also cases where the parents didn't know what is happening to the child, and then they would try to take that person to whoever is a professional or a clergy or somebody that knows something about these things, and this is where the child would get basically recruited or targeted. and the child might think that the parent betrayed them, and the parent won't know. And when it's neurodivergence, I often see parents say, "Oh, you need to behave well. Oh, please behave yourself, or we in environment," and they think that they just need to be very, very patient with the child, but try to make them behave well. No, your child is targeted. Call to declassify classified projects. Call to declassify classified technologies at the court if something is happening to your child. Then the classified technologies is what was used. Now, the therapists that try to treat the child, they are also tortured until now. And the role of not being able to die is a part of those cults. This is why I think ever since my teens I've been quite activist in the topic of um, access to choice and access to death with dignity or euthanasia. A lot of people say, what if a person wants to die? If a person wants to, that's not the point of euthanasia. Euthanasia is actually to assist people to choose life because they previously were not able to unalive themselves. And it's a juncture that is very important to alleviate suffering, to vote out of cults, and or to vote out the cults that also torture delegates to various things. When we talk about intelligence, when we talk about politics, one of the reasons that I did not agree and I was repetitively approached to participate in various intelligence is because of this issue. Um, there are many operations that are downright sex trafficking. And the infiltration of the Epsteins is something that creates situation where people are expected to follow orders that they don't, and or people try to activate people that are not even agents. Um, and or if there are sex traffickers like Epstein pretending to be intelligence, then the intelligence should do away with sex trafficking. Um, and so the chapter in the story of Sedna that I see with this Uranus Moon conjunction is that it can be the case that Sedna's father was to begin with tortured and never even wanted to sell his daughter, um, where in fact it would give us a situation that Sedna was kidnapped rather than traded. But they still managed to appeal to the father because he thought that he was going to find relationship for his daughter. Now the daughter can be a son, But we also know that in certain lineages, it gets to the point where the lineage is fully participating in this type of dynamics with children, and those usually are considered elite, although with testimonies like Douglas McIntyre, we see the families may have different social ranks. Um, now, um, Sedna story connects to the decisions that are governed by um, the desire to feel powerful following being basically a raped infant. And this is the reason that people have difficulties later when it comes to intimacy, sexuality, honoring erotic, non-erotic self. People that try to go to God, then their children are harmed at the churches or the religious institutions. Um, which remind us all that um, that those things bring invasions, persecution, failed operations. Um, and this is something that causes the atrocities that we see in the world. Jupiter hours, so some things that can really prevent, and Jupiter is lovely exalted in the ninth house. Only reason I don't do talisman is because the moon is in the eighth. Um, Jupiter in the ninth house reminds us that um, our beliefs when it comes to the people that people either the people that people trust with their children, but also the beliefs about those children, the attempts to send them to institutions or um, in the case that is registered births, this is something that I know a lot of people don't know how to deal with. But this is also the role of awareness to access to euthanasia. because not having access to euthanasia means that the child doesn't have how to die, doesn't have how to live, and this is how the horrors of the world begin.